VI. What is the mind aspect? Why is the monastic principle of such importance? WHO are the Manasaputras. We are now to touch upon the profoundest mystery of the whole manifested solar system, the mystery spoken of by HPB as the mystery of electricity. 1075. It is intimately connected with the life of God, as demonstrated through his 7 centers, the 7 heavenly men, the divine Manasaputras. This problem is not soluble as yet exoterically, and but little can be revealed to the general public. This is for 3 reasons. First, the state reached by man does not permit of his correct apprehension of these abstractions. Second, the greater part of the possible explanation is only revealed to initiates who have passed the 3rd initiation, and even to them in a carefully guarded manner. Third, the revelation of the close connection between mind and foed or energy, or between thought power and electrical phenomena. The effect of foetic impulse on matter is fraught with peril, and the missing link, if so it might be termed, in the chain of reasoning from phenomena to its initiatory impulse, can only be safely imparted when the bridge between higher and lower mind is adequately constructed. When the lower is under the control of the higher, or when the quaternary is merging into the triad, then man can be trusted with the remaining 4 fundamentals. 3 of these fundamentals are laid down for us in the Proem of the Secret Doctrine, 108 SD, I, 42-44.6, and with the evolving concept of psychology, make the revealed 3 and the dawning 4th. The other 3 are esoteric, and must remain so until each man has for himself worked at his spiritual development, built the bridge between the higher and the lower mind, prepared the shrine in the Temple of Solomon for the light of God, and turned his activities into altruistic helping of the evolutionary plans of the Logos. When these qualities are assuming a foremost place, and when man has demonstrated the thoroughness of his will to serve, then the clue will be put into his hands and he will find the method whereby electrical impulse, demonstrating as heat, light and motion, is controlled and utilized. He will discover the source of the initial impulse from extrasystemic centers, and discover the basic rhythm. Then, and only then, will he be a truly intelligent cooperator, and, escaping from the control of the law in the 3 worlds, wield the law himself within the lower spheres. 1. The nature of manifestation. Here are 3 important questions to be dealt with as one, all bearing on the same subject, and all concerned with the fact of intelligent objectivity itself. Perhaps if we paraphrased the threefold query, and brought it down to microcosmic objectivity, the problem might not appear so complex. We might express it thus. What is the thought aspect of a human being? Why is his mind and mental process of such importance? Who is the thinker? Man, in essential essence, is the higher triad demonstrating through a gradually evolving form, the egoic or causal body, and utilizing the lower threefold personality as a means to contact the lower 3 planes. All this has for purpose the development of perfect self-consciousness. Above the triad stands the monad, or the Father in heaven, a point of abstraction to man as he views the subject from the physical plane. The monad stands to him in the position of the Absolute, in the same sense, as the undifferentiated Logos stands to the threefold Trinity, to the 3 persons of logoic manifestation. The parallel is exact. 1. The monad. 2. The threefold triad, Atma Buddhi Manas, or spiritual will, intuition, and higher mind. 3. The body egoic or the causal body, the shrine for the Buddhic principle. This body is to be built by the power of the mind. It is the manifestation of the 3. 4. The threefold lower nature, the points of densest objectivity. 5. This threefold lower nature is in essence a quaternary, the etheric vehicle, animating life for prana, kama manas, and lower mind. Manas, or the fifth principle, forms the link between the lower and the higher. 1097 We have, therefore, our lower four, our higher three, and the relation between them, the principle of mind. Here we have the seven formed by the union of the three and the four, and another factor, making 8. The ultimate seven will be seen, when buddhi and manas are merged. Much has been hinted at in certain of our occult books about the eighth sphere. I would suggest that in this linking factor of intelligent mind, we have a clue to the mystery. When mind becomes unduly developed and ceases to unite the higher and the lower, it forms a sphere of its own. This is the greatest disaster that can overtake the human unit. Therefore we have monad, the microcosmic absolute, pure spirit, the one and only, the monadic trinity. First aspect, Atma or spiritual will. Second aspect, buddhi, the Christ principle. Third aspect, manas, or higher mind, the sum aspect in objectivity. The body egoic or causal body. The lower quaternary. 1. The mental body. 2. The astral or emotional body. 110 The Ancient Wisdom by Mrs. Besant. 83. Prana, or vital energy. 4. Etheric body. The microcosm reproduces the solar system in miniature. The above deals with the objective forms, corresponding to the sun and the 7 sacred planets. But the exoteric form is paralleled by a psychic development, which we call the 7 principles. Man developed 7 principles, which might be enumerated as follows. Microcosmic Principles 11-19-1. There are 2 main cosmic principles in nature. A. Active and passive, male and female. S. D. I. 556. I. 46. B. Buddhi and Mahat. See also SD. I. 357. I. 649. I. 273. 2. These higher principles united produce the 3 and the 7. S. D. I. 46. A. They are called the 3 rays of essence and the 4 aspects. S. D. I. 147. B. They can be called the 3 vehicles with their 3 aspects, and Atma. S. D. I. 182. C. They are also called the 3-tongued flame of the 4 wicks. S. D. I. 257. This is true cosmically and humanly. The principles of the Logos, the 7 planetary logoi. S. D. I. 358, 365. The principles of the planetary Logos, the vehicle called a chain. S. D. I. 194, 196. I. 626. The principles of man, the different vehicles. Note also. S. D. I. 176, 177. I. 630, 631. I. 189. Summation. S. D. I. 475. 3. Cosmic ideation, focused in the principle, results as the consciousness of the individual. S. D. I, 351. A. Appropriation by the individual of a vehicle produces a display of energy of any particular plane. This energy will be of a peculiar color and quality, according to the plane involved. 4. The 7 principles are the manifestation of the one flame. S. D. 45. I. 374. Note also the function of the gods in furnishing man with his principles. S. D. I. 308. 9 to higher principles. 1. Active intelligence. 2. Latent love wisdom. The psychic nature of the monad is twofold. 1. The principle of Atma. Spiritual nature. Will. 2. The principle of Buddhi. Love nature. Wisdom. 3. The principle of Manas. Intelligence nature, activity. Note here that the three principles in terms of the triad with the two synthesizing principles on the plane of the monad make 5 principles and give the key to HPB's numbering in certain places. We might express it thus. I the absolute the monad. I1. Prakriti active intelligence. The divine Manasaputra. 2. Purusha love wisdom. The Vishnu aspect. On the plane of objectivity. I3. Atma the triad. 4. Buddhi the triad. 5. Manas the triad. From the standpoint of evolution we regard the higher two and the highest one as the correspondence to the absolute as he manifests in duality. This is prior to objectivity, which requires the presence of the three. In manifestation we might regard the principles as follows. First principle the sphere of manifestation, the monadic egg. Second principle Atma will. Third principle Buddhi pure reason, wisdom. Fourth principle Manas pure mind, higher mind. Fifth principle Manas lower mind. Sixth principle Kama Manas. Seventh principle pure emotion, or feeling. These are the principles for the microcosm viewed as having transcended the physical bodies altogether, and thus the tabulation deals entirely with the subjective life, or the development of the psyche or soul. This should be borne carefully in mind, else confusion will ensue. In our enumeration we are here dealing with subjectivity, and not with form. We have, therefore, considered a. Sevenfold objectivity. The material forms. B. Sevenfold subjectivity. The psychic evolution. C. Sevenfold spirituality. The life of the entity. We will note also that in the tabulation of the spiritual life of the monad we considered it as fivefold. This was necessarily so in this fivefold evolution, but the remaining 2 principles might be considered as 6. The life of the heavenly man in whose body the human monad finds a place. 7. The life of the Logos in whose body the heavenly man finds place. It might be useful here to consider another enumeration of the principles of man. 11,210 enumeration of the principles. S. D. I. 627, 631. First principle dense physical body. Sthula Sharira. Second principle etheric body. Linga Sharira. Third principle prana. Vital energy. Fourth principle Kamarupa. The energy of desire. S. D. I. 136. These are the lower 4 principles. Fifth principle Manas. The energy of thought. The middle principle. S. D. I.